Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I would like to talk about video games, and more specifically, the time where they almost ruined my life. What am I talking about? Well, it was my freshman year of college when I got really invested into video games, but it didn't happen until the second half of the year. See, when it comes to video games in my life, I was first introduced to them through PC games, like the little kiddie games that are bought, like the Pajama Sams, your Freddy Fish, your whatever that car thing was, stuff like that. So I was first introduced through that. Then my parents got a PlayStation 1 that was broken, but my dad fixed it up in a way to where it could only play legal copies. What do you know? So I had a version of Spyro Year the Dragon, which I could not finish at the time because of how buggy it was, and I couldn't finish it until I had to buy a PlayStation 3 much later and buy it as a classic download. I then completed it for the first time, and it was a good time. But yeah, we were then given a GameCube, a real one this time, where we could only get real games, which was pretty convenient because none of our games are fake copies anymore. Then we got a Wii. Then, like I said, I have a PlayStation 3 at home. Then my brother got a Nintendo 64 for some reason. I don't know how he found one, but there you go. And then he got himself a Wii U. Doesn't have a lot of games, but yeah. So, being a college student, the only type of game I could play was, of course, the PC game, because I wasn't willing to put a TV in my room. And neither were my parents. Not like I asked them. So, I decided, it was like, for the longest time, I knew there was one game that I was going to get when it came out. I also pre-ordered it, but I'll talk about that when I get to it. The first game I ever bought for myself was in the shop. I saw the most recent, at the time, Assassin's Creed game, Black Flag, which was released, I can't remember when, but it had just pretty much come out. Like, you could buy it in a store. So I bought it, installed it on my computer, but something I found out at the time was that my computer is not meant to play PC games. It's a typical college computer that you get, and you're supposed to buy an expensive PC, like one that's built to last, and one that's built to play games. Unfortunately, mine wasn't the case. It was barely good enough to play the game, so that's a plus. It had massive frame rate decreations, and I had to lower down the graphics to the lowest degree, but it's still playable. What happened was, I played through that, and then I bought all the other games, and I own them all. I still own them through the PC, except, like, I checked my Steam account, and I can still play these games. However, I remember what happened was, during my first year of college, I was an engineering student. And while I was an engineering student, I did not enjoy it. And I only thought that I was going to be able to get the degree just so I could get a good job in some engineering field, make a lot of money, and use the money to be happy with myself. I was wrong. Very wrong. Because you have to actually have a passion for something to be able to exceed well in it. And you have to have a really good work ethic for the engineering program. It was good enough for me to get a B in its math class for introductions. But yeah. The second semester I had lined up before me a calculus class, a physics class, and a history class for, like, Western civilizations, I believe. And that's all I had outside of being a member of men's chorus. It was a very small set. But at the same time, between those classes where I was not caring about them anymore, I was also playing a lot of Assassin's Creed. And then, when the Stick of Truth came out, yes, the South Park game, I started playing it after I came back from spring break. And I was addicted to it. I played through the entire thing. But then sometime during my playthrough of the second Assassin's Creed game, it hit me. After I played the most recent game, I went back and decided to play them all in order. I should have done that in the first place. When it comes to all those games are available on the PC, and they'll be available forever. A PC game can last forever as long as they keep selling it, which a game series as acclaimed as the Assassin's Creed games can be sold forever. I mean, if the Spyro Year of a Dragon games are available as downloadable classics on the PlayStation 3 or 4 or wherever it's going to be called, then of course a PC game can last forever. But I played through, like I said, Black Flag. I played for the first game again, for the first time, the original game. But then during my playthrough of the second game, life finally caught up to me, and I realized that everything has gone terrible. I saw my grade back for my physics exam and my calculus exams and my current grades for the Western civilizations, and I was like, oh no, everything is gone haywire. What am I going to do? I stopped playing video games completely. I was like, no more. And until the end of the semester, it was like a month and a half of pain. Just pure concentrated pain. Like I was just trying to scramble together to get something put together. But I was so just not caring for the first maybe 2 months that there was no hope for me. In the end, Men's Crawl never complained, always an A, but I failed the calculus class. I got a D in the physics class and a D in this history class, which means that semester was toxic. So toxic that my GPA was incredibly low. My first semester was like a 2.75 about. Second semester was a 1.0. It was that terrible. So I was on academic probation, and I knew it was like, I can't keep going in engineering because if I hate it this much, then I can't do it. So, over the summer, I finally was able to get a job, which was my first job at Kings Island in Mason, Ohio. But I was without a job. I was like, hey, what am I doing? It was like when summer finally began, I was like, okay, I can finally settle down, play the video games. It took me a while. Like I was playing them nonstop for weeks just to finish them. And they're all great games. I love them. It was like they were my first rated M game experience. And they were a ton of fun. So after I finished them all, it was like I had that, I had Super Meat Boy, I bought Slender the Arrival, but I never played it. Heard it doesn't last that long, but it's a good experience for if you like the Slenderman mythos. So, for video games, I would say that that being addicted to them did ruin that semester because of how little I was trying. I mean, if I had a schedule like I did now, to where I was able to schedule everything out into time blocks, I probably would have done much better, maybe even decent. But the fact that I was playing video games during that time was just too much. I was doing too little. And I was just giving my life to these video games. I mean, during the previous semester, I was giving my soul to Minecraft. It's like, I still love Minecraft, it's a great game. I don't like its culture, but I like it as a game. So, there is a lesson to be learned, is that if you're going to want to be a PC gamer, you're going to have to save up your money to get a great PC to be able to play it at such great graphics. Because usually, the PC version of a game is the best version of a game. Because unlike having to hold a controller that has a predetermined amount of buttons, you have an entire keyboard where you can even preset your controls, usually, which is how a PC game should usually work. I've heard some of the worst games have no options to remap the keys. So, I own the Assassin's Creed games. I actually do want to play them again after I graduate. After I save up all the money to get a PC game, video game. It's like a PC that plays video games. And after I can finally put everything behind me and after I can finally start moving forward. It's like I loved playing the great video games that I had. And I'm not exactly the biggest expert when it comes to what makes a good game and what doesn't. I just try and enjoy the best in what you get. And just avoid the bad stuff. Because I know for a fact that a bad video game is nothing but insufferable. So, those are my thoughts, and that is the story of how video games almost ruined my life. Goodbye, everyone.